Hello. Hello friends, welcome to another video of Zeta Axis, and today we are going to start a new series. In this series, we are going to see the chapters of our NCERT one by one, and we will be studying them line by line. So basically, we will be taking the PDF of our NCERT, and then we will be studying it line by line, and we will try to understand each line, because generally what happens that in the NCERT things are explained in very short, and when we read we find we are not able to understand certain things. So that is why we will be reading everything line by line. This is our NCERT 11th NCERT Fundamentals of Physical Geography, and in this today we are going to see chapter 1, Geography as a Discipline. So this is our first chapter. The purpose of this video is basically to acclimatize myself as well as yourself to what to expect from this video. In this particular chapter, since it is about a general introduction, we are not going to read each line, but from other chapters we will be going in line by line. We will be reading each line and trying to understand what the NCERT is trying to explain in that chapter. For particularly this first chapter, since it is a general introduction, we will be focusing only the key aspects which are discussed here. So it starts here and it goes on to explain that why it is important. There are not much things which are important, so you can go through most of those parts, but there are certain specific aspects which are discussed here, so we can go through them one by one. So the first sorry, it was the wrong PDF I had opened. So we will be studying from this particular PDF. Okay, so let's start with our chapter 1, Geography as a Discipline. So here it basically explains what is geography, why we should study it. But so it says that what is geography. If you will see here, it says what is geography in very simple word. It can be description of Earth. It can be description of Earth. The geography term was first coined by a person called Eratosthenes, who was a Greek scholar between 276 to 194 BC. And the word derived from two roots of Greek word, that is geo and graphos. So these are the two words which give us the meaning of this geography, and put together these two words mean description of Earth. So the word geography was given by Eratosthenes, who's a Greek scholar, and it means description of Earth. Now we have seen that there exists here, if we see this line, then it says that we have noted that there exists variation over the surface of the Earth in physical as well as structure environment, and a number of phenomena are similar and many are dissimilar. So what we see on the surface of the Earth, that there are certain locations where there are certain differences. In each location there are certain differences in the physical as well as cultural environment. So the study of this, where we see that what is the difference between each region, is called areal differentiation. The geographers do not only study the variations in the phenomena over the Earth's surface, but also study the association with the other factors which cause these variations. So this particular thing can be considered as cause and effect relationship. So the geographers also study the cause and effect relationship. So here first we understand what is this areal differentiation. So the areal differentiation basically means a geographical concept referring to the study of how different regions on Earth are unique and distinct from one another due to unique combinations of physical and cultural characteristics. So in this, we study the physical and cultural characteristics of each region and try to understand how they are different. It focuses on the differences between regions rather than similarities. So here we are trying to find that how each region is different from another region by analyzing the factors like climate, topography, language, and economic activities. Now, one of the things which is easily perceivable and which is different is the cropping patterns. So we see that geographers do not study only the variations in the phenomena over the Earth's surface, but also study the association with the other factors which cause these variations. So they also study the factors, not only the variations, but also the factors which cause these variations. For example, cropping patterns. Cropping patterns differ from region to region, but this variation in cropping pattern as a phenomena is related to variation in soil, climate, demands in the market, capacity of the farmer to invest, and technological inputs available. So if you are studying like difference between cropping patterns in two distinct regions, then a geographer will not only study that in this region this particular type of crop is grown and in that region that particular type of crop is grown, but they will also try to understand the factors. What are the factors they have given? That what are different types of soil in those two regions which are having different cropping patterns? What is the climatic conditions causing the difference in crops? Demands in the market. So if there are two different types of market, for example, US or Europe is a bread eating or wheat eating market, while China and most of the East Asia is rice eating market. So even these things they will study that what are the factors which lead to difference in the cropping patterns of a region. So they say that a geographer explains the phenomena in a frame of cause and effect relationship. What they are trying to understand that geography is basically a study of cause and effect relationship. Now, what is a cause and effect relationship? We have already seen that there are certain differences and then there are the factors which cause those differences. In very simple, if we see, then there are certain examples to understand what is a cause. Since his skis are crossed, he fell in the snow. So this is the cause, this is the effect. If you toss an egg and drop it, then it will break. So this is the cause and this is the effect. So geographers, they on the geography level, they try to establish the relationship between cause and effect. So if certain phenomena is occurring in a region, then why that phenomena is occurring and what is the effect of that region. So this is how it is trying to define that what is geography. It is here it establishes geography is basically cause and effect relationship. Now it also says that it does not only help in interpretation but also foresees the phenomena in the future. So the geography also provides us a tool to see what will happen in the future. The geographical phenomena, both the physical and human, are static but highly dynamic. Sorry, they are not static but highly dynamic. So we know that the physical environment as well as the human community, it is not static, it is dynamic, and they have dynamic effect on the environment or the region surrounding to them. So if you see the humanity, so if you compare for last 200 years, you will see that there has been shift in the uses or technology. Even for a smaller region, if you consider smaller years, then you will see that there is a lot of variations. Earlier there were like the roads were not that broader. Now if you go even into interior regions, there you will find that the roads are better and roads are wider. Now these wider roads also has impact on the ecology as well as other regions. There are more increased number of vehicles even in the remote areas. So this also in a very short duration of time also you will see that there is shift. So this is how the humanity is even in the short time affecting, and its effects are dynamically changing. They change over the time as a result of the interactive process between ever-changing Earth and untiring and ever-active human beings. So this relationship between human and the nature, it changes dynamically because of the changing environment as well as our behavior. Now it says that primitive human societies were directly dependent on their immediate environment. We know that because they did not have the technologies, or even in the earlier human history, they did not know how to conserve food. So they were directly dependent on the environment and on the direct supplies from the environment. So geography thus is concerned with the study of nature and human interactions as an integrated whole. Now it is giving us another understanding of what is geography. So it is saying that geography is concerned with the study of nature and human interactions. So earlier it said that it was cause and effect understanding. Now it is saying the relationship between nature and human as an integrated subject. Human is an integral part of nature. Obviously, human is a part of nature, and nature has the imprints on human. Nature has influenced different aspects of human life. So we know that there are different human beings living in different regions, and each of these regions having different climatic conditions, different rain, or different type of landscape. So based on that, their life is also influenced. So that is how nature has influenced different aspects of our human life. Its imprints can be noticed on food, clothing, shelter, and occupation. So we know that the type of food a person eats or a community eats depends on what type of environment it is living. If you go in the higher latitudes, they will be having a different type of consumption compared to people living in the tropical region where agriculture is more easy. Then it says human beings have come to terms with the nature through adaptation and modification. So adaptation and modification. So certain things we have changed, and over the times we have adapted some of the things. These two terms may seem little similar, but adaptation generally involves a long-term changes, while modification is relatively short-term or required short-time changes. As you already know, the present society has passed the stage of primitive societies which were directly dependent on their immediate physical environment for sustenance. So it says that the current human society is not directly dependent on the nature as we were in the past. Yes, even now we are influenced by our nature, but still we are not so much dependent. Here in the tropical regions also we can get the supplies of the polar regions. So today, because of the technological development, it is possible to not directly depend on our current and our regional environment. Present societies have modified their natural environment by inventing and using technology, and thus have expanded the horizon of their operation by appropriating and utilizing the resources provided by the nature. This is self-explanatory that we have modified our natural environment by inventing and using technology. Now we use AC. We can, using the AC or using the greenhouse that is there, we can grow plants which are naturally not occurring in a region. We have also done some genetic modifications in the plants to grow them in certain regions. So this is how we have expanded the horizon of our operation by appropriating and utilizing the resources provided by the nature. So we have used certain resources which are provided by the nature, and we have used our technology to influence the environment. With the gradual development of technology, human beings were able to loosen the cycles of their physical environment. That is, with the increase in the technology, we became less and less dependent on the environment. What is this? Technology helped in reducing the harshness of the labor. So we can see that because of technology, the harshness of the labor, that is the amount of manual effort that was required, has been reduced. There is increased labor efficiency and provided leisure to human beings. So we have eased the labor that was required. Earlier for excavating we needed human, but now we have JCBs. Similarly, there are many other specialized equipments which are used, so which has reduced the labor. It also increased the scale of production and mobility of labor. So it has also increased the scale of production. Now mass production are there. We have industries which are automated. There is mobility of labor, which means that the people who need to work in certain type, who are skilled and have certain skill set, they can be moved from one place to another where their requirement is there, and labor is highly mobile these days. The interaction between the physical environment and the human beings have been succinctly described by a poet in the following dialogue between human and nature. So a poet, they are giving here a line by a poet where he says that you created the soil, I created the cup, you created night, I created the lamp, you created wilderness, hilly terrain and deserts, I created flower beds and gardens. So here, by using this, they are trying to explain you that how much human being has been able to influence the natural surrounding around him. Now, human beings have claimed their own contribution using natural resources. With the help of technology, human beings moved from the stage of necessity to a stage of freedom. So basically, now we are little less dependent on our nature, and we can live in regions which were not really meant for being people there. We know that people now live in Antarctica, where it is too cold. There is 6 months of cold. Still, there are stations where people can be there. Even in space, which is not naturally the place for human beings, but still there is a space station. So we have really pushed the horizons limits. We have become free of our natural limitations. We have not completely become free, but we have just increased our horizons. They have put their imprints everywhere and created new possibilities in collaboration with the nature. Thus, we now find humanized nature and naturalized human. So, humanized nature, this means that we have changed the nature to match our needs. And similarly, we have naturalized human. So, nature has also impacted us, and we have changed based on the natural nature surrounding us. Then it says the space got organized with the help of means of transportation and communication network. So it is talking that the earth we got organized because of the advancements in transportation and communication. The link routes and nodes, settlements of all types and hierarchies. So basically nodes means the settlements, human settlements, and links are the roads or the railway lines or airplane lines, any kind of thing which is connecting these places. Integrated the spaces. So because of this, all these spaces, all this space on earth, they became integrated, they became dependent on each other. Why? Because supply from one place is provided to other place, so that place is now dependent on this place. This place may require some other thing which is at third place. So because of this, there is an interdependence. It got organized as a social science discipline. Geography supplies the spatial organization and spatial integration. So here now it is saying that geography also studies the spatial organization and spatial integration, so which is part of social science. So here it is now taking us to another part where it is we also study, where it tells that we also study the social science as a part of geography, where the spatial integration or spatial organization is also covered. Now, geography as a discipline is concerned with three sets of questions. Now, this is a very important philosophical understanding of geography, that what is geography. So, it says that geography is basically linked with three questions. The first question is says what, where it is saying some questions are related to the identification of the patterns of natural and cultural features as found over the surface of the earth. That is, what kind of cultural or natural feature is found in a location. So that is the question of what. If we see over here, then we can ask that what types of minerals are found over earth, or what type of minerals are, or what type of climate is there on the earth. So this is about different types. You are trying to study different types of anything. So this is the question of what. Now it says that some questions are related to the distribution of natural and human cultural features, over the surface of the earth. That is where. So now if you ask, where are the minerals found in India? Say like, where is the coal minerals found in India? So here we are studying what are the minerals found on earth. Here we are studying where are those particular minerals found. So what and where, these are the two questions. So these questions were there from a very historical point of view. So it says that taken together, both these questions take our distributional and locational aspect of the natural and cultural features. So basically what they cover the distributional, where what and where. So this is distributional, that what is there, what is found, like if one mineral is found here, another mineral is found here, so total number of minerals. And location, where these minerals are found. These questions provide inventorized information of what features were located. It was a very popular approach during the colonial period. So these two questions were the key focus of any geographer in the time of colonial period. However, these two questions did not make geography a scientific discipline till the third question was added. And what was the third question? The third question was question of why. So here we particularly ask, why is this mineral found over here? So the third question is, why a certain location has this type of mineral, why a certain location have this type of climate, or why there is desert over here, why there are snowfields at another place. So this question of why is a very important question which we have only added recently, and because of this why, geography is now converted into a scientific discipline. So what it says, the third question is related to the explanation of the causal relationship between features and processes and phenomena. Here we try to understand why this phenomena or this process occurs in that particular region, and that is what makes it a scientific discipline. That is what makes geography now a scientific discipline. Geography as a discipline is related to space and takes note of spatial characteristics and attributes. It studies the patterns of distribution, location, concentration of phenomena over space and interprets them, providing explanation for these patterns. So what is this spatial? If you do not understand the word spatial, it is just means that space or the area. So it studies spatial characteristics and attributes. So in geography we study for a given area its characteristics and its attributes. Attributes could be any attributes. It could be like desert, it could be like mountain, it could be like monsoon region, it could be like equatorial region. So these are the attributes, and then we study the characteristics. Monsoon area has certain characteristics, that like that the rainfall occurs within certain period of time, while rest of the time it is drier. So this kind of study is part of geography. We study the patterns of distribution, how it is distributed, this particular characteristics is distributed, where it is distributed, and then the concentration of phenomena over space, and interprets them, providing explanations. So we now provide the explanation for these patterns, that why monsoon climate is experienced in India while equatorial climate is experienced in certain regions of Africa or Indonesia. Now we provide these explanations. We also answer the why. So this is a very important part of geography now. It takes note of association and interrelationships between phenomena over space and interprets them, providing explanation for these patterns. So we have seen this part, that now we provide the explanation. It also takes note of association and interrelationship between the phenomena. So now it also associates the interrelationship between two phenomena. Like you have El Nino in the Pacific Ocean and the monsoon is affected in India. So how does this interrelation occurs? So that is also now studied, the phenomena resulting from the dynamic interaction between human beings and their physical environment. So it also studies the impact of human beings and their physical environment. So for example, how making roads, it affects the geography of hilly terrain, or how landslides have increased because of modern highways being constructed in those regions, or how the wildlife has been affected due to the roads which are passing through them or which are built in it. So all this is now studied in our geography. Sorry, a notification has popped on my screen. That is why I am not able to see the screen. I have to cancel that notification. Okay. Now moving forward, geography as a integrating discipline. So now it says that geography is basically an integrating discipline. What it means that it can combine different disciplines and it can put them together. So let's see here. Geography is a discipline of synthesis. It attempts spatial synthesis and history attempts temporal synthesis. So synthesis means like you take data from different sources and then combine them. So that you can understand by synthesis over here. Now, what does spatial synthesis mean? So spatial synthesis means you take an area and then you collect data of that area. For example, you are collecting the rainfall data for that area, you are collecting the soil characteristics data for that area, or you are collecting the rainfall data of the adjoining regions. So this is called spatial synthesis. To understand a region, you are collecting data which is related to that region and you are combining those data and then trying to understand the cropping pattern of that region. So that you can say is spatial synthesis. Now what is temporal synthesis? Temporal synthesis is you take part of a region and you collect the historical data. For example, if we take Delhi and then we collect the data of how different rulers built different areas as well as different monuments in Delhi, then that will become temporal synthesis, because we are collecting data which is spread across time. Like you can study for 100 years, or you can study for the Gupta period or Mughal period or Ashoka period. So you can study different time for specifically for Delhi, and then you can come to the conclusion how certain period affected Delhi. So that would be temporal synthesis. But if you collect, suppose you take a time, you take like time 1800, and then you collect data of all over the region, that what was the society over there, what were the main economic characteristics, what was the trade of that region. So that would become spatial synthesis. So I hope you understand the difference between spatial synthesis and temporal synthesis. Geography attempts spatial synthesis while history attempts temporal synthesis. Its approach is holistic in nature. Holistic means it takes everything. The geography will take all the factors. It should ideally take all the factors in nature. It recognizes the fact that world is a system of interdependencies. It takes everything in account because it recognizes that one thing is dependent on another thing. For example, the cropping pattern is dependent on soil. The soil is dependent on the climate. The climate is dependent on the landscape of that region. So we can see that there is this dependencies. So geography recognizes that everything is based on their interdependencies. The present world is being perceived as a global village. We all know Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So global village means that because of this transportation and communication, the whole world has now become a village. Everything is very close. The distances have been reduced by better means of transportation and increasing accessibility. The audio-visual media and the information technology were enriched. The audio-visual media and the information technology have enriched the database. Technology has provided better chances of monitoring natural phenomena as well as the economic and social parameters. So because of the increased technology, we can monitor everything. We can monitor the nature, we can monitor the economic activity, we can monitor the social parameters. Geography as an integrating discipline has interfaced with numerous natural and social sciences. All the sciences, whether natural or social, have one basic objective of understanding the reality. So it says that geography is an integrating factor which links different types of, here we can see. So as a field, geography, it links different types of fields. So if we see, here is geology, and then we have this zoo geography. So we study the distribution of animals based on geography. We can see there are different. In fact, if you will see, then there would be a place where it is even politics. Here you can see history. So history is also studied as historical geography. So for each geography you will study, then if you study political science, then also political geography. Population, you are studying demography, so you will study population geography. So you see that how this field of geography integrates all these fields because it is linked to all these studies. So the audiovisual media and then for technology, where all the sciences, whether natural or social, have one basic objective of understanding the reality. So it says that it integrates all of them, and it is successful in integrating them because basically all the social science or any field of science is actually trying to understand the reality. The basic objective of every field is try to find the reality. If you are studying history, you are trying to find what actually happened, what is the truth, whether one fact or one statement about any king or any kingdom or any duration is true or not true. If there were coins at that time, what kind of coins were there? So you are trying to, in each subject, you actually try to understand the reality. And geography, since it links that, it helps in finding the reality. Geography attempts to comprehend the association of phenomena as related in sections of reality. See, it is saying that because it is linked, political geography will be linked to historical geography. So political science of a region will be linked to history. So for example, the political history of India, that is, we have been neither a part of the Soviet bloc nor the part of US bloc. So we have been in a neutral. So this has a history. The colonial rule over India was a major factor that India decided not to take part in any of these. So the political geography is also determined, the political science or the politics of a region is also determined by history, and it is spread by this, means it is decided by the historical geography of that region as well as political geography of that region. So you can see that how it combines these things. Every discipline concerned with scientific knowledge is linked with geography as many of the elements vary over space. So it says that any scientific knowledge, any field which is linked with scientific knowledge is linked with geography. Why? Because each of these scientific knowledge or scientific field, they vary based on geography. So if you are like studying the magnetic field of Earth, then you have to study the magnetic field in different regions of the Earth because the magnetic field varies in different regions of the Earth. If you are studying the photosynthesis or plants, suppose you are a botanist and you are studying the plants, then different regions of Earth have different types of plants. So then again geography comes in because everything varies based on the geography. That is why geography is such an integrating and necessary field. Geography helps in understanding the reality in totality in a spatial perspective. So what geography does, it helps you understand the totality, that how many types of plants are there if you are a botanist, and why there are different types of adaptation in plants in different regions. Geography thus not only takes note of the differences in the phenomena from place to place, but integrates them holistically, which may be different at other places. So we have already seen this in detail, that how it will help you understand everything holistically. Where will be? Integrates wholly. Yeah. A geographer is required to have a broad understanding of all the related fields. Obviously, if you are studying the effect of these many branches, so you need to have some basic understanding of all of these fields. This integration can be understood with some examples. Geography influences historical events. So here they are giving an example where they are explaining that how geography is interrelated. So we will go here. So it says geography influences historical events. Spatial distance itself has been a very potent factor to alter the course of history. So what does spatial distance mean? Spatial distance means it is the amount of space or interval between two or more physical locations. So for example, we are taking this Mughal emperor. So the Mughal empire was very big, and this is the Persian empire, suppose. So you can see that this distance is the spatial distance. So what it says, that spatial depth provided defense to many countries, particularly in the last century. So what it says, that if suppose Persian empire wanted to attack the Mughal empire, then because of the large size of Mughal empire, the large distance, it will have some sort of protection. because it can react, it can gather its army. So the time this Persian army might take to come from here to here, the Mughal Empire could have collected significant amount of army or significant amount of people to resist the attack. So it is saying that historically, spatial depth provided defense to many countries, particularly in the last century. In traditional warfare, countries with large size in area gain warfare. Countries with large size in area gain time at the cost of space. So it gives them time, and because it has large area, it can strategize its attack, as well as it has more people, it has more resources. The defense provided by oceanic expanse around the countries of the New World have protected them from wars. So because we have these oceans in the southern side, there have been no war over here. Even the Himalayas are also a very good defense. If you look at the historical events world over, each of them can be interpreted geographically. So obviously, when you are studying history, the historical events are also influencing a location. It changes. For example, if you are studying a history, then the history of India will be studied in a different way than the history of UK or history of France, because the important things which affected those regions are different. So even the study of history is based on geography. In India, Himalayas have acted as great barriers and provided protection, but the passes provide routes to the migrants and invaders from Central Asia. The sea coast has encouraged contact with people from East and Southeast Europe and Africa. Navigation technology helped European countries to colonize a number of countries of Asia and Africa, including India, as they got accessible. So here they are saying that there are defenses, but even the defenses have passes which can be which people can come over, or people have used to attack India. Then they also talk about navigation technology. So they are saying that even though Europeans were very few in number, they were able to capture large regions because of the technology, and they also got accessibility because of their technology. Here is the same diagram which we have seen earlier, this diagram. So we have, since we are seeing only a cliff part, we are seeing this part here through oceans. The geography factors have modified the course of history in different parts. So here the example of history is continuing. Every geographical phenomena undergoes change through time and can be explained temporally. Temporally means over the time. So temporally means over the time. The changes in landforms, climate, vegetation, economic activities, occupations, culture developments have followed a definite historical course. So we know that vegetation in a region, landforms, they go through a cycle of erosion as well as upliftment or some tectonic activity. So landforms change over time. Climate also changes over time, vegetation also changes over time, economic activities also change over time, and occupations also change over time. Cultures also change over time. So we see that everything is also affected by time as well as the region. Many geographical features result from the decision-making process by different institutions at a particular point of time. Many geography result from the it says that many geographical features result from the decision-making process by different institutions at a particular point of time. It is possible to convert time in terms of space and space in terms of time. So here it is trying to establish the necessity of time also for geography. How time and geography is also an interdependent thing that you have to study a space over a time to understand it completely, and how it says that how humanity and certain decisions, they alter the features of a location. For example, if you have decided to build a dam at some location, then it will completely change the geography of that region. For example, it can be said that a place is 1500 km from place B, or alternately, it can also be said that place A is 2 hours away or 17 hours away by a fast moving train. It is for this reason time is an integral part of geographical studies. Here it is trying to explain you that why temporal relationship is also important in geography. So when you are studying geography, it is important to understand what changes have occurred over the time. Figure 1.1 amply depicts the linkages of geography with different natural land. I think this is figure 1.1, which you have already seen and understood, that it shows the linkages between different branches of science or other different branches. Now we will see different branches of geography. So in this particular part, they will now explain you different branches. So this is a little important because you will be getting a glimpse of different branches of geography. So it is talking about this figure. It has very clearly brought out that geography is an interdisciplinary subject of study. The study of every subject is done according to some approach. This is not important. The major approaches to study geography have been systematic and regional. So remember these two words. This is important because this is the two major classification of geography, how you study geography. First is systematic and second is regional. The systematic geography approach is the same as of general geography. This approach was introduced by Alexander van Humboldt, who was a German geographer. While regional geography, so here if you understand, then this systematic geography is basically studies geography theme by theme. What does it mean? So suppose you pick a particular characteristics like climate and you study the climate of all the regions around the globe. Or you take the characteristic of soil and you study the soil characteristics all around the globe, or in fact over a very large area, but you are studying only the characteristic of soil. So that is systematic geography. Then comes regional geography, which was developed by another German geographer and contemporary. So both these people, Alexander van Humboldt and Humboldt Karl Ritter, both of them were contemporary, that is they existed in the same duration. And he gave regional geography, where the approach is basically to study a particular location. So you take a smaller location, you take like Delhi, and then you study various characteristics of Delhi in a holistic manner. So this approach studies geography region by region, country, state, district, natural region. So you can take a region, it could be any distribution. You can take a political or a natural distribution, you can take a desert or a state, and then you study it in all terms to give a holistic relationship or holistic understanding of that region. Here you are taking one characteristics and then you are studying in a very broader area. So in systematic geography, it explains one particular phenomena and its spatial distribution across the world. It could be across the world, or it could be across a very wide area, like you are studying all across the India, a particular characteristics. So this is basically linked to one particular phenomena or characteristics, while this is related to both natural and human phenomena, means it studies everything in that particular region. So it is focused on a region and it studies that region holistically. That is why regional geography, the word itself explains it, regional geography. You are studying to try to understand that region. Method compares and generalizes patterns. So the basic approach of this systematic geography is to compare two different regions and then come to a pattern, like a climatic pattern. So we have certain classifications of climate, and there are certain patterns that this region will have this kind of climate because it is on this latitude and on this side of continent. So we are generating a pattern. Similarly for soil, we are generating a pattern. Here we are trying to understand that, reintegrates physical and human aspects together for that region. We are trying to understand that whole region, that what has happened over there, what were the cultivating activities of the people who were there, what fertilizers were used, whether those fertilizers lead to harm of the cropping, whether there was shift in demand, that is why the cropping has changed. So this is basically understanding that particular region. This is about generalizing and coming up with patterns and making it more systematic. Studying, so here is an example, studying world climate. So you are studying the climate types, global distribution of population, or industrial regions of world. Here is an example, studying the geography of Himalaya. So we are taking a region and then we are trying to understand that why there are ridges, why there are these dune valleys, and different why there are this kind of rivers which are flowing. So we understand everything. We understand the people who are living over there, how do they live, what are their economic characteristics. So we take a lot of bigger approach in this study for that region, for a smaller region. Here the approach is concentrated on one point, but the area is higher. It is more scientific and analytical. You are analyzing, you are comparing, you are taking the data, you are trying to understand the pattern, and here the nature is more descriptive and holistic. So in regional geography, you are trying to have a holistic approach. The purpose here is to develop general laws, theories, models about the geographical phenomena. So here you are mostly concentrating on forming a model or creating some law or theory, while here you are mainly trying to understand the uniqueness and individuality of that region. Now coming back to our PDF, the systematic approach, a phenomena is studied world over as a whole, which we have seen, it is studied all across the globe. And the identification of topologies or spatial pattern is done. So basically you study the region as a whole and then you come up with typologies, means different types of that feature, like this type of soil is over here, this type of soil is over there, so different types of soil. Similarly, if you are studying climate, different types of climate. So this typologies or spatial patterns is done in the systematics. For example, if one is interested in the study of natural vegetation, the study will be done at the world level at first step. The typologies such as equatorial rainforest or softwood conical forest or monsoon. So you are basically trying to give different types of you are focusing on in study. In the regional approach, the world is divided into regions at different hierarchical levels, and then all the geographical phenomena in the particular region are studied. So as we have seen that we take a smaller area, that area could be large area, a small area, but the focus is to understand it holistically. These regions may be natural, political, or designated regions. The phenomena in a region are studied in a holistic manner, searching for unity in diversity. So till here we can see all this we have studied, we have understood the difference between regional and systematic geography. Now here we can see that what are you getting from this kind of study. So for example, you are doing a systematic geographic study of climate, so you will build a map like this, and this color, each color indicates different type of climate in that region. But when you are doing a regional geography, you will give a report like this: what is the impact of climate change on crop productivity in Western Ghats. So here you will study the climate, the crop pattern, the people who are farming, whether they have changed the cropping pattern because of excessive rainfall or reduction in rainfall, or if there is excessive soil erosion because of rainfall, so they have changed the cropping pattern. So all that you will study in this, and you will have a holistic understanding of this one topic. So this is the difference in the result of both of these studies. Now let's see dualism. So dualism is basically there is always a fight between geography that what should be focused. So earlier the debate was between regional and systematic. So some people thought that systematic study was good, some people were more focused on regional. So this was the foundational dualism leading to the development of systematic approaches studying specific themes like climate or transport, and regional approaches studying the unique characteristics of specific area. Later, which is the current scenario, now the dualism is related to physical versus human geography. So some people, they just want to study the physical phenomena, while some people they want to include the human effect on the physical phenomena. So this is the dualism. It says that dualism is one of the main characteristics of geography which got introduced from the very beginning in the form of this. Dualism depended on the aspect emphasized in the study. So it depended on the aspect emphasized, what part you want to emphasize, whether a particular characteristics or understanding it holistically. Earlier scholars laid emphasis on physical geography, but human beings are an integral part of Earth's surface. They are part and parcel of nature. They also have contributed to their cultural development. Thus, developed human geography with emphasis on human activities. So you can see that earlier dualism started with this. Now it is about this, whether to include human effect in study of physical properties or not. Now here are names of those different branches. So physical geography can be classified into, you can see the examples of systematic geography over here. So these are different systematic geographies. Soil geography, hydrology, climatology, geomorphology, plant geography. So you can see, you can very clearly see from over here that they have divided systematic geography into different parts. And if we come to regional geography, we can see regional studies, areas, regional development, regional analysis, regional planning. So all these are divisions of regional geography based on regional approach. So you can even understand from these two figures in your NCERT, figure 1.3 and figure 1.2. If you see these two, you will understand the basic difference between systematic and regional approach. This is based on systematic approach, and that was based on regional approach. And now we have certain names. Geomorphology. It is devoted to study of landforms, their evolution and related processes. So we study the landform, basically the tectonic plates and all those things, what is happening inside our earth. Climatology, study of structure of atmosphere, our atmosphere and elements of weather and climates and climatic types and regions, all that is related to climate, rainfall, monsoon, El Nino, La Nina, and all that you will have in climatology. Hydrology is about the realm of water over the surface of the earth. So in this we are studying about the water, the oceans, the lakes, what happens in the oceans, what is there in the ocean, what is acidification of ocean currents. All this will come under hydrology. Then we have soil geography. It is devoted to study of soil formation. Then we have human geography. Social cultural geography encompasses the study of society and its spatial dynamics as well as the cultural elements contributed by the society. What it means that you are studying about the society, how it is divided. Spatial means how it is in different area, it is having different dynamics, different characteristics, as well as cultural elements, how culture of one region is different from another region, how South India is different from North India, how Gujaratis are different from Kashmiris, or how the Biharis are different from the Bengalis. So you can study that in this part. Population and settlement geography. It studies population growth, distribution, density. So basically things related to population. What is the density, sex ratio, migration, how people are moving from one region to another region, why people are developing around Delhi, or what is the housing problem in Bangalore or Mumbai. So all these things are studied under this geography. Then we have economic geography study. The economic activities of the people are studied, that what kind of trade are preferred by people in one location, like what kind of trade is there, trade or economic activities carried out by people living in like Lucknow, and what type of economic activities carried out by people living in Jaipur or even Jodhpur. So because the climatic conditions and the location is different, Lucknow is more in the center and UP has more population. So the people, and Lucknow is also the administrative capital of UP. So you will see that a lot of people in Lucknow will be working in government firms. So they will have a different occupation. When you go to Jodhpur, they are having a very different type of atmosphere, very different type of climate. So they will have very different type of occupations over there. Tourism is one important thing which is there. So there will be people involved in tourism. So all these occupations you study in the economic geography. Agriculture, industry, tourism, trade, transport, all these things. Then historical geography studies the historical process through which space gets organized. Every region has undergone some historical experiences. It is very easy to understand what is historical geography. You are trying to understand the geography of that change in the region over history. So for example, if Delhi was there, how Delhi in 100 years have changed, or you can study that, would be also part of human geography. You can also study that if there is a lake. For example, we have our Aral Lake, so it has become extinct now. So if you are studying that for last 100 years, how there have been changes, so that could be historical geography. The geographical features also experience temporal changes, and these forms the concerns of historical geography. So for example, if a river is there and you see that the river is changing its course, or how it is changing, like Kosi River, there is flood every now and then. It is generally considered that the Kosi River has moved around 200 kilometers. It is generally not verified, but it is estimated that geographic Kosi River course has changed for 200 kilometers. So all this is about historical history of geography. You are studying the change in the landscape over a history. Political geography looks at the space from the angle of political events and studies boundaries, space, relations between neighboring politics. So for example, you are taking the relation between India and Pakistan, or you are taking the West Asia, like Israel and Arab countries conflict over the last 50 years, 60 years. So you are studying the political geography. Then there is a field called biogeography, which is the interface between physical geography and human geography. You can see interface biogeography. Here is physical geography, here is human geography, and the interfaces these two, where it is classified: zoo geography, plant geography, ecology. So this is what is biogeography. Plant geography, which studies the spatial pattern of natural vegetation in their habitats. Zoo is related to animal, so the spatial patterns and geographic characteristics of animals and their habitats. Then there is ecology. Ecosystem deals with the scientific study of habitats, characteristics of species. And then there is this environmental geography, which concerns world over, leading to the realization of environmental problems such as land degradation, pollution, so basically related to environment. So I hope these things are self-explanatory. Branches of geography based on regional approach. So now we have regional approach. Earlier we have seen the systematic approach. Now we have regional approach. So regional studies area studies comprising macro, meso, micro regional studies. So macro is large area, meso is medium, micro is small area. So regional studies which can have different types of areas. Regional planning comprising country, rural, town, urban planning. So all these planning are also part of regional geography. Regional development, regional analysis. There are two aspects which are common to every discipline. These are philosophy and methods and technique. So regional analysis is philosophical and methods and techniques. So geographical thought is there, land and human interaction, human ecology. So here we are mainly linked with the philosophical aspect, like determining how to do, what to do, and all those things. And here is the methods. Cartography, like cartography means carto means making map. So cartography is like how you make a map of a region, like where there is how much elevation, where there is how much depth. So that is cartography. Quantitative techniques, statistical techniques. So we are now using some statistical tool. For example, you want to make a road through a terrain, so you have to do the statistical analysis that which region or which, if you make a road through which place, you will have least cost or you will affect the environment least. So that kind of statistical study is required. Field survey methods. So whenever a project is planned, you have to do a field survey where you go in the field and you take the measurements of different things. If you have seen road construction somewhere, so before the road construction stops, they are using a theodolite. That is basically a theodolite or dumpimeter. Basically, it's an instrument which is this big and it is mounted on a tripod, and they are seeing through it, and then they are trying to determine the level of that region. Field survey methods, geoinformatics comprising techniques such as remote sensing. So these are basically general terms. I hope you understand what is these things. The above classifications gives a comprehensive format of the branches of geography. Generally, geography curricula is taught and learnt in this format, but this format is not static. Obviously, nothing is static. Everything changes. Any discipline is bounded to grow with new ideas. Obviously, for example, what was once manual cartography has now become a computerized cartography. Now we have satellites in the sky which can make, even this big satellites are there, which is like few inches long, and they help in making the map of regions. The internet provides extensive information, thus the capacity to attempt analysis has increased tremendously. GIS, I think Geological Information System, has further opened vistas of knowledge. GPS has become a handy tool to find out exact locations. Technologies have enhanced the capacity of attentive synthesis with sound theoretical understanding. So basically it says that technology help us understand different things, and understanding of different things has led to enhancement of technology. So it goes vice versa. This chapter appears in the book entitled Fundamentals of Sphere. The contents of the book clearly reflect its scope. It is therefore appropriate to know the importance of this branch of geography. Physical geography includes the study of lithosphere. What is lithosphere? Lithosphere is landforms, drainage, relief, and physiography. To have an exact understanding of what is lithosphere, lithosphere is basically considered as the crust as well as upper mantle. So all the regions of our earth above the asthenosphere, when you are going in the second chapter, we will see asthenosphere. So all the part of the earth which is above asthenosphere, remember asthenosphere is not part of lithosphere, everything above asthenosphere, that will be upper mantle as well as the crust, the oceanic crust and the continental crust, the Sial and the Saima. So all these, they form lithosphere. That is the exact definition of lithosphere. Then we have this atmosphere, its composition, structure. So see, in physical geography we have lithosphere studies, atmosphere study, Atmosphere includes composition, structure, elements, and controls of weather and climate, temperature, pressure, wind. So everything that you study about the atmosphere will be basically part of physical geography. Hydrosphere, we have seen hydrosphere is also part of physical geography. Ocean, lakes, seas, associated features with water biomes. So everything which is related, even groundwater is also part of physical geography. Then we have biosphere. Biosphere, we know, is the life forms including human beings and macroorganisms and their sustaining mechanism, that is food chain. So even food chain and study ecological parameters and ecological balance, all these are also part of study of geography. Soils are formed through the process of pedogenesis. So the study of soil formation is pedogenesis. Remember this. Maybe it could be asked, and depend upon the soil formation depends on parent rock, climate, biological activity, and time. So we will study this in very detail in the upcoming chapters. Here they have given just in line. So remember, parent rock is important, climate, biological activity, and time is important. Time provides maturity to soil and helps in development of soil provides. So if you allow a rock for a larger amount of time, so more disintegration will occur and more mature the soil will become. So what is basically a soil? Generally we understand that rock fragments are soil, but that is not true. Rock fragments are called regolith. When we add organic things to the regolith, that is the fragments, then we have soil. The soil needs to have humans or other microorganisms for it to be called soil. So the more time you will give, it will become more finer, and more organisms and more plants will be there, more humus will be added to that. So time generally helps. Each element is important for human beings. Landforms provide the base for which human activities are located. Plains are utilized for agriculture. We know that all the landforms, whether it have plains or hills or plateaus, all these are important for us. The plains are utilized for agriculture, cultivation. Plateaus provide forests and minerals. Mountains provide pastures, forest, tourism, even hydroelectricity is also an important thing. Sports and other sources of rivers provide water to lowlands. Climate influences our house types. The type of house you live in, it also depends on the climate. For example, the regions where there is a lot of snowfall, you will have these conical type of roofs because the snow is very heavy. In fact, in regions where we have very heavy rainfall, there also you will see certain different type of houses. If you go in Mumbai or adjoining regions, on the roof you will see that they have made this temporary covers to protect from water seeping in because of the very heavy rainfall that occurs over here. The climate has a profound effect on vegetation, cropping pattern, livestock farming, and some industries. Human beings have developed technologies with modify climatic elements in a restricted space, such as air conditions and coolers. So it says that we have come up with technologies which can modify the climate in a small space. Like in a mall you go and there is this air cooler. In fact, if you see, then there is this artificial rainfall, something where you can spread some kind of elements on the clouds and then they will give rainfall. So we can modify climates. Even there is this greenhouse, which is an example of modified climate in which the plants are grown. Temperature and precipitation ensures the density of human beings have developed technologies which modify air condition controllers. Temperature and precipitation ensure the density of forests and quality of grassland. So temperature and precipitation are also important. It is trying to explain us this thing. Temperature and precipitation, it ensures the density of the forest. Obviously, more rainfall is there will be higher density, quality of grasslands. In India, monsoonal rainfall sets the agriculture rhythm in motion. In India, we know that rainfall occurs in the month of from June to September. Right now it is still continuing in October, but that is the main time between July to September rainfall occurs, and that is where most of agriculture activities occur. Precipitation recharges the groundwater. The aquifers are filled by this rainfall, which later provides water for agriculture and domestic use. We study oceans, which are the storehouse of resources. Besides fish and other seafood, oceans are rich in mineral resources. India has developed the technology of collecting magnesium nodules from ocean beds. Now this is an important thing. Remember what are magnesium nodules. So in the depth of the ocean, because of the heavy pressure of the overlying water, some of the metals which seep from the vents. Under the oceans there are certain places, vents are there through which the smoke is coming out from the earth. So these smoke, they can have a lot of elements. So when they come in contact of water, they cool down and they form these nodules. Magnesium nodules is one such example. There are also methane is there. I forgot its name, which seeps in and it solidifies. So there are various types of resources on the sea floor which can be extracted. So India has developed this technology. It has developed this technology with the help of US. Soils are renewable resources which influence a number of economic activities such as agriculture. Soil, most importantly, influences agriculture. The fertility of the soil, it goes naturally determined and culturally induced. Soils also provide the basis for biosphere accommodating plants and microorganisms. So we can see the importance of geography over here. Geography is concerned. So here are some quotes from different people. Geography is concerned with the description and explanation of aerial differentiation of the Earth's surface. We had seen earlier what is aerial differentiation. That is, we take different parts and try to understand the differences between these two parts, these two regions. That what are the difference between these two regions? That is aerial or aerial differentiation. Geography studies the differences of phenomena usually related in different parts of the Earth's surface. This was given by Hetner. The study of physical geography is emerging as a discipline of evaluating and managing natural resources. Obviously, our technology, our understanding of the nature is increasing. So this field is also increasing. In order to achieve this objective, it is essential to understand the intricate relationship between physical environment and human beings. Physical environment provides resources, and human beings utilize these resources and ensure their economic and cultural development. So it says that because of the resources available, because we have the rare earth elements, that is how we are able to make the chips. Because of those chips we are able to make those computers, and because of those computers we have internet, and because of those internet we are having this live stream. So we can see that how natural resources are important. Accelerated pace of resource utilization with the help of modern technology has created ecological imbalance in the world. Hence, a better understanding of physical environment is absolutely essential for sustainable development. It is talking about sustainable development, and if you are studying about UPSC, then this will be a very important topic throughout your studies. Sustainable development. What factors will affect help us to achieve sustainable development. So this is a very important topic. And with this, we have completed our first chapter. I hope you have liked this way of induction, this way of this lecture. We will be covering all other chapters of NCERT soon in this matter, where we'll have this PDF ready, which will cover other chapters. And we will see line by line, because this was an introduction chapter. This was very simple, but next chapters are not going to be this simple. So we will cover each chapter line by line, but they will be covered in different videos. For the chapter 2, we will have different number of videos, because they are having a lot of topics. Generally NCERT, they describe topic in one line and then they forget about it. They do not explain in detail. We will cover everything in detail, and this was the start. I hope you have liked it. No, I'm not going to stop GC Leon top lectures. It is continued. In fact, I have already prepared the already prepared the required PPT. So do not worry. Today I am just trying out a lot of things. How I can do this thing. So basically I'm trying out. Those lectures will continue about GC Leon. And if you see, most of the things are common. What is there in GC Leon in the part 1 is also there in our NCERTs. So I hope you please continue the series on Indian minerals. I think I have completed everything on Indian minerals. So I don't have anything on Indian minerals or Indian mapping, but yeah, there are certain topics left in world mapping. So I have to cover, I have only covered 2 continents, North America and South America. In fact, in South America, 1 video is left. So I have to cover world geography, but I think I have covered everything in Indian geography. Like all the minerals I have covered them very extensively. So if you have any questions, you can ask those questions by using the command exclamation question and then ask your question. I will directly get it over here. If you have liked this video, then do subscribe to the channel and tell your friends. Do let us know how did you feel about this kind of interaction. Thanks for watching the video.